Gentlemen, this video is specifically for your entertainment purposes. We've got Valentine's Day around the corner, and as we discussed last week, we're doing a special dinner tonight. So that gives you 2 weeks about before Valentine's Day, and my lovely wife did a dessert. That's going to be a part 2 of this video. So let's start. What do we have here? So I've got black pepper, I've got garlic. So my black pepper is about 2 tablespoons, garlic 2 teaspoons, salt 2 tablespoons. I've got a little bit of vanilla. It's about a half a teaspoon of vanilla. I've got a little bit of flour. I've got a heap of butter. You're going to use a lot of butter on this one. I've got pepper juice. I've got sugar. I've got rump steak here. You can see it's a nice thick cut. If you're going to do a nice thick cut, this is 200 gram pieces, specially cut for this. I've got bacon, 250 grams bacon. I've got green beans. I've got carrots. So I'm going to explain some of the stuff, but not all of the stuff in detail tonight. I'm going to focus on our green beans and our meat. So we've got lemon and herb here that we're going to use in a spicy rice as well. That's why we have pepper juice, pepper and garlic. So we're going to do a spicy rice. We're going to do a lovely rump steak fried in a pan. We're going to do the sweet carrots, and we're going to do the green beans with a nice creamy sauce. Alright, so let me get everything quickly together and I'll be with you in a sec. And gents, so here's our carrots. You see, in the bowl, I just fill it up with water till it's evenly covered, and that's enough water to do everything. So you put that into your pot. See, in the pot is gonna be a bit higher, but it's fine. That's enough moisture there. So with that, I'm gonna add from the beginning. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, 1 teaspoon of salt. Normally I measure with my hand. I'm doing it proper tonight for a gentleman. You see what I do. Then same thing. There's my green beans. Just filled with water to the top in a bowl. That's going to be enough moisture. Put them in. And again, 1 teaspoon of salt. So on this one, we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Now this is according to taste. So I like my stuff spicy, and my lady as well. So 1 teaspoon of black pepper. You can, if you want to, you can do a half. And then on that, I'm also going to add a little bit. So that's about a half a teaspoon of garlic from the start. Okay, I'm going to put this on the stove now on a high heat until it boils. You guys can see we've got a nice lump of cheese here. So they come in this nice perfect blocks. We're going to use 4 of them. Let's take them out.
And then 2 just for taste.
Yeah, we must make sure it's very good quality cheese. One of these days I'm going to teach you how to make sushi with this cheese. So we're going to do a couple of sushi videos as well. So there's our cheese. Now you're asking me what we're going to do with the cheese. What does cheese got to do with rump steak? Let me show you. So firstly, what we're going to do, I'm going to take a bit of olive oil and put it here in a plate. I'm going to cover my steak on both sides evenly with the oil. Just quick like that. Just wipe my hands. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to start right at the end. Put your finger there so you can feel where you're going. And I'm just going to cut the meat in the middle. Put your hand there so you don't want to cut it right through. So you can feel on your fingers where you're going. Make sure it's cut nicely. See, I almost filled it, but it's not right through. It's almost to the end. So what you're going to do now, I'm going to unwrap this piece of cheese and it's going inside. There's my wrapper. It peels off perfectly. I'm going to pop that into it. Now you can give it a bit of a squish because you really want to get it into the fillet there, into the rump. Press it down, make like a nice sandwich. Get it in there, all squished together. So what's going to happen as soon as we put this in a pan and fry, that's not going to really melt, because we're not going to cook it. The fact that we cut it is going to cook faster, so we're not going to do it very well done. We're just going to do it a medium rare, but the fact is it's very thinner than it used to be, so it's going to cook very fast. So we'll get to that. So now you remember we added some oil to this. Now what we're going to do now, I'm just going to add a bit of black pepper for seasoning, a little bit of salt, not too much because the salt dries out the meat, so you don't want to add too much. It's just a flavor. Gonna flip it around, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna put it here, and we're quickly gonna do the rest. You can see we prepped our 4 pieces of beef. I'll show you inside. There's our nice cheese. So I left this for about 5 minutes so that the salt can draw moisture out of the meat. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna bring my pan and gonna place them in the pan. So I did preheat my pan a little bit, not too much. So I want to do this on maximum heat. Maximum heat in the pan. So I'm gonna put it back on the stove and it's set. All 4 pieces. Let it go back onto the stove. You can see our beans going. They are already nice soft, so I'm going to finish them up now. And we've got our carrots here, also nice soft. I'm going to just let them cook a bit longer. They are almost done. And now back to the beef. Now you can see I have them now about for 2 minutes here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip them around. Let me take my hand because the top is not hot. You can see, nicely sealed. I'm going to flip around all 4 of them quickly. As you can see, we only sealed it to a point. You see that there? It's nice medium rare. So we are not done. What we're going to do is we're quickly going to take them off. So we don't want to fry them too long. We're just going to seal them. So we'll take this one. You see the cheese nicely starting to melt in there. So that one is perfect. I'm going to quickly take off all 4 of them. So you can see here's our beef. So I'm going to let them rest for about half an hour. So you do that so that all the moisture inside of the beef, because what you did now, you actually gave them a nice fright by sealing it on both sides. So all the moisture is all fixed together now. So you leave them for half an hour so everything just can relax a bit. So life can come back to them. So then I'm going to throw them in a pan. We will get back to that. So now we've got our green beans nicely cooked, all done. So what we're going to do now, because we're doing a creamy beef, here's a little bit of flour. It's 2 teaspoons of flour on 200 ml of cream. And I'm just going to add that to the cream. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to add, I have my garlic. I almost forgot I have my garlic. So now I'm going to add my cream to that. So the flour is just going to help it to stiffen up. And as you can see, the cream again is just covering the beans. So you don't want to put too much, and that's why I've added 2 teaspoons of flour just to stiffen it up. It doesn't need to cook too long now. And then on the side here we have our bacon. So what we're going to do with the bacon, we're going to fry that as well and add that to the beans so that gives it a lot of flavor. So let me first just get to this quickly. So here's our carrots. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to add a nice heap of butter. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons. I'm going to add a bit more, 2 tablespoons, because I see I've got a little bit of carrots here. I've got mine. Now here's 4 tablespoons of sugar. 4 tablespoons of sugar. I'm going to add all of that to the mix. And then I'm going to add my little bit of vanilla. My 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So that just brings out all of the flavors. remember in the beginning we did add our salt, so there's no need to put more salt. So this is going back to the stove now, just to preheat, melt the sugar, and basically just cook a little bit into the carrots. So there you can see our beans is now starting to cream up nicely. So how do you know? If you pull it away and it clears up at the bottom, you know it's almost done. This is a bit more creamy. If it was spinach, it would have been fine, but due to the fact it's beans, you can wait a little bit longer. Now I'm going to add my bacon, already fried. I'm going to add that to the mix. So I'm adding that quickly. Now you can see all the colors and all the textures coming together. It looks very nice. That's exactly what you want. So my heat on the beans is not very high because you don't want it to burn. There's our carrots. You can see there's a little bit of moisture left at the bottom. So I'm just going to have them cook until they dry, but they're already done. So it's just the moisture that must leave. You can see our beans got a little bit of moisture left, but it's fine. I'm going to take them off of the stove now. As soon as they cool down, this is all going to start setting. So you don't want it to go too dry. This is perfect. So here's our pan. We use this pan just now for the bacon, so I'm going to use the same pan. Now I'm going to cook the steaks in butter, so that's going to keep them nice and tender. So I'm going to add quite a bit of butter. It's about 4 tablespoons of butter going here. And to the mix, I'm going to add the rest of my black pepper. That's going in. I'm not going to add salt. Remember, we did add salt. That's enough salt. I'm also going to add my remaining garlic. So that's about 1.5 teaspoons of garlic. Also adding to the mix. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start adding my steaks. So I'm doing this so you can see here properly. And you can see I'm not putting any in the middle. It's all going to the side because I'm going to swirl them around and cook them quickly. So that's going to go back to the stove on a maximum heat for about 5 minutes, then they are done. So we're going to do a spicy rice. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. This is what we're going to use. So there's 26 different spices in our lemon and herb, perfect for spicy rice. You can also use the barbecue, but I don't want it too spicy and too much flavor because we have the sweet carrots, we have the nice beans here with the bacon, and we have the steak that's almost going to the stove. So I just waited for the rice to get finished. So I'm just going to add a little bit. Now this is 2 cups of rice, so I'm going to add about 60 mils of lemon and herb. Then for color, I'm just going to add pepper dew. Now because of the amount of spices we have in the lemon and herb, I'm just going to add a teaspoon of salt. It's 2 cups. Normally you use 2 teaspoons of salt, but due to the fact the lemon and herb, I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon. I'm going to mix that, and it's going back to the stove just to get dry, and that will be perfect. Here you can see our pieces of rump in the pan. So all what you do is just going to move them around a bit, and you're going to leave them a total of 5 minutes on the side on this heat. There's our cheese still inside. That's what you want. You don't want it to melt out. All our cheese is still inside, perfectly concealed. So I'm going to flip them around quickly for another 5 minutes, and they are done. So there's our spicy rice. So if you can see, there's a bit of moisture still left. You don't want it to get all the way dry. You want a little bit of moisture if you do a spicy rice. So I'm just going to take this little bowl. It takes about 80 mils. And I'm just going to add my spicy rice to this. And press it in tightly and nicely like that. You can hear our steak sizzling in the back there, and that's exactly what you want. So if you come here to the plate, you're going to find a corner. Simple to say, there's a round plate, but find a corner, put it down, knock it 2 times, maybe slap it, and take off your mold. And there you now have a nice decorative spicy rice. If it's not exactly where you want, you can just push it a bit, and there you can see, perfect. So there's our steak, all perfect, done. 5 minutes on the side, 3 minutes on the side in the frying pan. Cheese still perfectly inside, perfect. So you can see there's a nice sauce going on in the bottom, so you're going to use that as well. So I'm going to take this off and prepare one plate. There you go, guys. So we've got our nice rump fillet with the cheese inside. See all of my black pepper, garlic coming together. So this taste on this is going to be perfect. We've got our sweet carrots here, perfectly done. We've got our green beans with the bacon, the cream and flour did its thing. And we've got our spicy rice. So the spicy rice we did in previous videos with the loco moco, so you guys can have a look at that. This is not that spicy, it's just lightly spiced. But this is your Valentine's dinner that we prepared for you guys, all the lads and all the gentlemen out there. I hope this helps you. We've got a dessert coming after this, also very easy and quick to make. Have a nice evening.